recording. So we're going to do this bearing design section view. So we're going to create this section view as you see it here. Now, a couple things. In the tutorial that they do in the book, they create like a regular, I'm going to say, right side view with the hidden lines and all that kind of stuff. And then they convert it to a section view. And then it's like you do extra work for no reason. So we're going right to section view. All right. I don't expect you guys to make a side view and then convert it over by changing the lines and stuff like that. That's extra work that's not needed. So, but what I do encourage you to do, and it's already laid out for us here, but when we're doing the other ones, try to kind of plan it out, just like we did the last time we were together. Kind of draw your view out first so you kind of know what it's going to look like and have a visual of it before you just jump in. But we happen to have the top, or it would be the front view with our section lines in it. And then over on the right hand side, we have our section view. So let's see what this drawing looks like. So again, I'm on page 11.5 in our AutoCAD book, the bearing design section view here. Now, a couple of things. You'll notice that they have a regular note at the bottom here. So if we run into any radiuses that are on here that are not dimensioned, we're going to use 1/8 of an inch. Now, with that, as you look at that note, they're using fractional dimensions. To our current standard for dimensioning, we need to convert everything to decimals. We will not do any drawings for me in fractional dimensions. I'm kind of surprised that they did this, but it's there, and we just have to kind of deal with it. Bad, bad, bad. So we know we would correct that. But more importantly, we're going to create the section view here. So notice that they have their section view identified. The arrows are pointing away. And here's another thing that they missed. They called this section AA, but they did not create a title for the view. It's okay to add that, but then use those letters. Okay, that's my only deal. But it's also okay. We're going to leave them off. I feel like it's obvious that's the section that we're doing. Put the cutting plane line in there. Put the arrows pointing in the right direction, but we're not going to label them. Okay, unless we have 2 or more. All right, unless we have 2 or more. So that's that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start laying this out by creating this view first and then projecting over. All right. Now, if you want to follow along with me, go right ahead. But the important part that you want to come back to me with is going to be the sectioning view part. So I'll kind of walk through, but if you get a little ahead of me because you're becoming like an expert, it's good. It's good. I'm okay with that. But again, I'll explain how we do the hatching and the command for that. And that'll be something a little bit different. So I have my inch template up here, and I'm going to start at my 0, 0 and put the very center there. So I'm just going to create that front view off of what we have there on page 11.5. So I'm going to start with a center diameter. I'm going to identify 0, 0 as my center point. And then I will do, in the side view, they're calling it out as a 2.5 inch diameter. So 2.5, that largest diameter. And I'm going to put them on because I don't have them on. I do like my line widths on because then the visible lines just kind of pop for me. Then I'm going to draw the circle above and below. And those 2 circles are radiuses of 3/4 of an inch. So they're going to be a diameters of 1.5. So since I have diameters up, I'm going to use that. And my starting point for the top one, since I have my 0, 0 at the center, I can put my absolute coordinates in. And that means I'm going to be a 0 going straight up in my X direction. And it's going to be 3.5 divided by 2, I think is 1 3/4, right? Right. So my coordinates are going to be 0, 1.75. All right. And that's my center. And then my diameter, because I have the diameter selected here, would be 1.5. Okay. Now I could do that very same thing, or I might as well do a mirror. Okay, so I'm going to do the mirror function. You can put the coordinates in separately. I'm going to select that item. Doesn't hurt to practice that because we don't do it that often. Enter when I have it selected. Specify my center point. I'm just going to select that center point right there. And then I'm just going to go over to the right. What are you doing? There we go. And I'm good. And then I don't want to erase the source information or the source data. So there it is. Selected. I don't know what I did here. Okay. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my tangent lines on either side. So I'm going to go to line. I'm going to do shift right mouse button because I just want to focus on tangent, and then shift right mouse button and do tangent again. Okay. Go. Line again, tangent, and shift right mouse button, tangent on this side. Now, when I'm activating my line command, I'm doing L spacebar rather than going up to the menu. Okay, so feel free to use the quick commands if you feel like you like them and they're more efficient. I find they are. Tangent, tangent, escape. And then you can also do enter to just redo that very same command that you had last. Tangent and tangent. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of the portions I don't want. If I look back at my drawing underneath here, I am keeping the full circle in the inside because that's that outside diameter right there, which is going all the way to the bottom of what would be like the foot, if you would, or the mounting plates or the mounting portion. But I am going to get rid of the full circle part here on either side. So I'll go back to AutoCAD. I'm going to use my trim function, and I'm going to get rid of that, and that on the top. This, and this right there, and then escape. Okay. Now I'm going to add the rest of the circles in this view. So using the dimensions that they're giving me, I'm going to go to the center here for my center. That inside one is 1.5. The next one is 2 because that's the bore. So center diameter again, 2 inches. So those are the 3 circles in the inside. And now I'm going to add the circles for the like the counter bore that's there. So I'm going to do center diameter, and I got to activate this center, or I'm doing the bottom one first. It's going to be 0.375 for 3/8. And then another one, same center. It's going to be 0.625 for that diameter. So remember those diameter symbols are those circles with the slash through them. That's the diameter. All right, now I can either, I think I'm going to copy. We did mirror before. Let's do a copy. I'm going to do a copy, select my 2 items, hit enter. From that center, my base point, I'm going to go up to the center right there. So you could do a mirror on it, but you can also do center because we have the center point as well. Or I mean copy because we have the center point. All right. Now what we're going to do is we're going to create that right side view, kind of the profile. I'm going to wait to put this hole in once I have the hole created on the other side, because that's where the dimensions are. So let's go back and kind of devise our plan here. So I'm going to start with creating the perimeter going all the way around here. Okay, that whole perimeter. So I think I'm going to start in this corner up here and go straight down. Okay, and then go up, and I know that's a 1/2 inch. Then I'm going to go in, up, over, down, up, and then back around. So we're going to create that perimeter, and we're going to use kind of a combination of some of those little like I don't know, I think that they're called something, those like snap lines, as well as dynamic inputs. So so let's see how we do this one. All right, and remember the key here is we have to have everything in alignment. So what I want you to turn on is show snapping references. If you don't have it, it's just to the left of your object snaps. You're running object snaps. Also make sure that your running object snaps are on and that you have like endpoint, center. I added quadrant because I found that I kept using quadrant all the time, especially when I'm going from my circle view to my side view to show the lines of the holes. And then I have intersection, perpendicular, and tangent. So you can do what you want, but do have those running object snaps on, and then we can always override them as we know. So I'm going to start with my line command, And I'm going to hover over, not clicking, hovering over the top of that radius there. And then you kind of saw what happened. So I'm going to, like you got to activate it. You might have to go back over the top of it. But notice when I run over on this green line appears, that means if I snap anytime now, it's going to be on that line, which means I am in projection on that point. Okay. So if you have, and you know what, this will only activate if you have quadrant as one of your running object snaps. If you don't, go and set it, because like parts like this, it comes in handy. So now I'm going to go over, I'm just going to give myself enough room because I'm doing that upper right-hand corner. And now I'm going to start my line. Okay. Now, how far I'm going to go down, I could do the math, right? I could do 3.5 plus 1.5. I think that's 5, right? I could go 5 down and just key it in, but I can also do that very same thing. I can go down here, even though I'm in ortho mode, I can move my cursor over here, activate that quadrant and come over. Oh, you dirty dog. There we go. Come over. You might have to do it twice. And now it's going to grab onto that directly below. And it is 5, but I'm going to do it that way because then I know I'm in projection. Those are really nice drafting tools. Now my thickness here from the drawing, it says that I'm 0.5 thick. And now I'm going to go in. Now here, I'm going to be in projection with this largest circle in that left-hand view. So I'm going to go over, activate it. Come on. There it is. No, come on. Better. Okay, it's not cooperating with me. And so, and you know what? Sometimes AutoCAD has a mind of its own. I don't know why it's not. All right, it's not wanting to. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Now it's there when I push it up and away. So that's 1.25. I'm going to click there. And then I have to look at how high that is. So this overall is 2 from the top to the bottom. I used a 1/2 inch already. So that means I'm going to be 1.5 in this direction. Then I'm going to go straight up. I'm going to find that outside. There it is for me this time. And then this one, depth-wise, I could do the 1.5, or I can hover over this one, go straight up. There it is. And then go up, hover over. And then because this is a continuous line, I can do C, enter, and it closes for me. Okay. So kind of a combination of the dynamic input and then also using these like snap lines. Okay. Or you can do the math and just put the numbers in as you go. Any questions so far? So we've got the outside. I will add right away the radiuses on those edges. So let's go back to AutoCAD. Otherwise, I'll forget about them for sure. So I'm going to do my fillet. And the fillet said that the radiuses that are undimensioned, which these are, my radius is 0.125. So you need to identify your radius first. R, enter, 0.125. And then now we're going to select the vertical and the horizontal. And then we got to go back into fillet or press enter, vertical, horizontal. There we go. Okay. So that's in place. Now, what I'm going to do now is I haven't done a save yet. So I'm going to do a file, save as, and I'm going to save it where I want it to go. This is module 4, module assignments, module 4. And this is the bearing design. I'm going to do 1. There we go. Okay. Don't want to access it. So we've got the perimeter around here now. Now we've got to work on those inner parts. Okay, so remember, these are going to be solid lines now, not hidden lines, because we're going to be doing the full section right away. So I'm going to start with my counterboard holes right here. Those counterboards, as I look across, the call out is right here for me. So it says a diameter of 3/8. That's going to be the through hole, the smaller hole that goes all the way from one side to the other. And then it says a counterbore symbol here, okay, and a diameter of 5/8 or 0.625. That's going to be the wider one, okay? That is only going to be, now we have a depth symbol. This is that depth symbol, the horizontal line with the arrow going down. That counterbore is only going to be 1/8 inch deep. So that's going to be the offset in. So go ahead and place that. If you want to follow along with me, you can. Now, again, these are going to be visible lines, even though we're going into the side view here. This is going to end up being a section. So I'm gonna go to the inside hole first. Okay, I'm gonna like click on this because I want to activate that. Again, that's because my quadrant is on. And as I move over here, once I get to the part, the view, it's gonna like find an intersection. That's what that X is. I'm gonna click, and then it's gonna go perpendicular and click, right? And then I'm gonna do the same thing again. Line, go to the bottom portion, go over, 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 follow that green snap line, click and click. So these are nice little enhancements that AutoCAD has done. It's been a while, probably in the last 5-10 years, but I still think they're cool because they weren't there before. Then I'm going to do the larger one outside. I'm going to click, and I'm just going to go like halfway in. This one's not as important because I know I'm going to trim it off. It's only going to go down 1/8 of an. Actually, I could have done that, right? Let me do that over. Now that I know, you guys maybe already did that. Dang it. Try it again. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go down. Where are you? Activate that corner here. Oh, I must have hit circle. Click, and then I know it's 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. I'm going to go down. Now I know this is 0.625 because that's the diameter, and then I'm just going to go back. And then I'm going to trim away those little parts I don't need. Okay, there we go. Now, at this point, it's going to be the same counter bore on the bottom, right? So I can do a copy or a mirror, totally up to you. I'm going to do a copy, and I'll show you how I'm going to do this one. So I'm going to do a copy here, and I'm going to window around. It's a click, click, not a drag, window around my parts so that I get that full counter bore identified, or you can singly select. I'm going to hit enter. Now it wants me to select my base position. I don't have to select the base position where I have my stuff. I'm going to select it on the center line or the center of the hole that I just copied. And then that's going to be my base position. And then it's just going to go straight down to the bottom one. And all that I'm giving it is its distance. Now I could continue, but I'm done. So I'm just going to hit enter. So that's one way you can use copy. You don't have to select on the actual items you're trying to move. You just need the distance. Okay, so that's there. Probably a good idea to do a quick save, file, save. And then let's go back to our book. Now we've got just the inner part to do, right? So let's kind of do that same process for that part. So this hole right here is the counterboard hole. So we're going to grab a line. We're going to grab that quadrant, go in, grab that. And how deep is that? That's 0.25. Then we're going to go down. We know that's 2 inches, so you can just key in 2 rather than going over. It's probably the faster way. And then perpendicular 2. Okay. Now we're going to do the same thing for that inner. We're going to go line, grab the quadrant, in, and perpendicular. This one goes all the way through. Line again, quadrant. There we go. Oh. Even if you're not like completely exactly where I'm at, if I'm a little faster yet than you probably are noticing though that you're getting better. Do you guys start to feel more comfortable with AutoCAD at this point? Yeah. And look at it's only been 3 weeks, really. It's impressive. Okay, we're going to put this hole in place now. So we know this hole is going to be along that center line and it is 1.5 inch up. So let's put that hole in. We'll go to AutoCAD. I'm going to do a center diameter. And now I need to specify. So I need to determine where it is and then do a reference. So I'm going to do a snap from. Now I don't have a center line here, right? But because this is one continuous line, the midpoint is in line with the center, isn't it, of this? So I'm going to do shift, right mouse button, midpoint of that line right there. There it is. That's going to be my snap from. So that's the center. And I want to go a negative 1.25 to the left comma 0 from that, referencing that point. Ooh, I did something wrong, didn't I? Did I forget something? If I'm snapping from, I need to use the @ symbol. Yep, I get caught on that. So let me try it again. Circle, snap from, shift, right mouse button, midpoint, @ symbol. And I can't back up to get to the @ symbol. You always have to start over. Now negative 1.25, comma 0, making sure we do the @ There we go. So now here's my diameter of 0.375. And now it looks like feature-wise, visible line-wise, I have everything in place, don't I? All I need to do is bring my hidden lines back over here. So we're going to do that. Now, this view, I need to add my hidden lines yet. That's a, if you would, a regular front view. You'll notice there are no lines, no hidden lines in my section view. Okay. So let's go back over here. I'm going to go to the hidden line layer. I'm going to go line here, grab that quadrant, go over. Okay. And notice I grab that intersection, and then this one doesn't want to do it. So I'm going to intentionally go past it and then trim it, because I think it might grab a tangency line. I don't want that to happen. Okay. I want to go straight through. Same thing for the other one. So we're going to go line, grab that quadrant. It'll grab here for me. That one's good, but I've got to go past on the other side. And then I will trim that back. Trim back and trim back. Okay. All right. Quick save. Let's do our hatching next. Okay. This is the new part. So if you have been kind of moving along on your own, come back to me now, because we're going to go to hatch. So X hatch is at the very bottom here. It's our yellow layer. And there is a hatching command. Okay. It's in the draw menu, and it's in the lower right-hand corner here. We're just going to click on it. Now there are additional things down below, but we're just going to use the top one, the hatch. Now what happens here is my ribbon changes when I go into this. Okay. And these are all the settings that I can change here now. Okay. So first and foremost, these are the types of hatching that I have available. And there's more. Notice that there's an arrow down, and I have all of these available to me. Okay. The one that I'm going to pick is going to be the ANSI 31. Okay. That's just a standard cast. And an ANSI 32 is steel. ANSI 33 is going to be aluminum. These three are usually the ones that we use. Okay. So I'm going to click on the 31. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to hover. I haven't clicked anything. I'm going to hover and I'm going to look. It gives me a nice preview. Like, does that look okay? Is that proportional? And it looks good to me. But let's say I'm like, oh, I don't think I really like it. It seems like the lines are too far or too close together. This number right here, this is a symbol in front of it. This is to scale that. So let's say I want to do half scale, because right now it's 1:1. If I do 0.5 and I go back where I was, notice how they're a lot closer now. That's too close. I just want to show you that you can change that. Okay. I'm going to go back to 1 right here. All right. And that looks better. I can also change the angle. The default angle will be 45 degrees. The angle is right above here. So if I want to change that, I can change it to 30 degrees. And notice that now my angle changed. I don't like it, but 45 was better. So I just click on that, 45, go back. Oh, I think it was at 1. Yeah. No, 1. Was it 0?
Yes.
Because that's like the start. Yep. So it would be like, I was probably at 46 then, right? Yeah. So that's kind of its standard angle. All right. Now, if you like what you see as the preview, click. And then you go in the next area. Now I'm leaving the voids open. So then I click here and I click here and I click here. All right. And then I'm like, oh, that looks good. So then you just hit enter or escape, and then it closes out that command. Okay. Now, if you wanted to go back in and change anything about it, you just select it, and then that menu is going to come back up. Okay. So I'm just going to hit escape because I don't want to. Now, this is where if anybody like went in a section and it didn't like grab that section, or it went outside of the section, like it continued somewhere else, that means your geometry wasn't closed, or you didn't have just single lines. There might be overlaps. And that's where AutoCAD gets confused. Okay. Cause it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Okay. So good geometry here, nice clean lines, using your object snaps, having single lines, no overlaps. It's really important. Here, the parts are a little bit more simple because we're learning. We're at the beginning of our sectioning journey, if you would. But as things get more complex, it gets a little bit, it gets even more critical. Okay. So if you did have any difficulties, or if it didn't recognize an area, go back and check to make sure that you've got, you know, good connections and good geometry. All right. How did that go for everybody? I mean, hatching is pretty straightforward. So make sure you're on that X hatch, and then right down here is that command. Okay. I'm going to do a quick save because, again, do I want to redraw that? No. Okay. So now I'm ready to put in what? What am I left with here? I have center lines, and what else? The cutting plane line. Yep, the cutting plane line and the center line. We're going to put the cutting plane line in first. Okay. The reason we're going to put it in first is because it takes precedence over center lines, and my center lines would all have vertical components to them, wouldn't they? So I can't overlap center lines with my cutting plane line. So I'm going to change to a cutting plane line, C plane. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit. There we go. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply create a line going right down the center. So I'm going to, bless you, I'm going to align with my quadrant. And then I'm just going to simply put a horizontal line going all the way through. I know it's kind of hard to see on my screen right now because it's just dark, right? Compared to my background, but it's right there. It's right there as I go over the top of it. Okay. Now to get the arrows in, and this is a little bit, I don't know, it's a little wonky. I think I wish they would have a better way of doing this, but they don't yet. So what we're going to do is in the annotation portion of our home ribbon. Okay. We don't have to go to annotate because they have some of them pulled out here. You'll notice that there's this leader. It has like a little circle, and then it has like a point. Okay. We're going to do leader. We're going to click on leader. And all we're going to do is, and you don't have to connect to the line yet. We're just going to click like on the left side, and then we're just going to click to the right. And when you zoom in here, it creates an arrowhead on the end for us. Okay. But you'll notice that there's a blinking like cursor. It like wants me to add text now. All right. I don't want to do that. All you're going to do here is you're going to hit the escape key. We're going to just done. Okay. We're not going to worry about any text, but we want to use that arrowhead because then I don't have to construct it myself. Okay. Now, if I try to click on this, this is all one. All right. It's called a block. All right. And I need to explode it so that I can kind of change it a little bit. So I'm going to go up to the modify, and you're going to notice right below our eraser, there's the explode function. So what it's going to do is it's going to take that arrowhead from being all one entity, and it's going to break it up for me. And I want that. So I'm going to explode it. I'm going to click on it to explode it, and then I'm going to hit enter. Okay. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down over here. So I'm going to move it, I'm going to select that whole thing, and I'm going to move from that endpoint down to there. Okay. But it's kind of long, isn't it? Looks kind of long. Oh, my battery is low. How come I'm not plugged in? Let me do this. Hold on. I thought it was plugged in. It mustn't be plugged in. Hold on. I don't want to lose juice. No, not good. All right. Plugged in. try a different outlet. There we go. Go ahead. Oh, you guys have it. It's okay. Yeah, it's not, okay, hold on just 1 second. I don't mean to interrupt here. I thought I was plugged in, but it's giving me a warning. Yeah. Another outlet. Sorry, guys, I'm. Now I look like I'm good. Okay, so. Now this is powered on that power strip. How come this? That's weird. Okay. All right, we're back in business. So now we need to trim this off. So all we're gonna do is I'm just gonna move it backwards. I'm gonna grab my thing here, grab the whole thing, and I'm just gonna simply move to the left. So it's right about here. That's it. And then now, guess how I get rid of that area? I trim. And the reason and this is why I wouldn't be able to trim it if it was that whole entity. And that's why I had to explode it. Okay. So if you forget to do the explode part, whoopsie, let me do trim. If you forget to do the explode, it's not going to let you trim it. Okay. Oopsie. That's the key. So now that I have this one here, you can imagine that I can just do a copy for the other one, right? So I'm going to do a copy. I just typed in copy. I'm going to select this, enter, endpoint, and pan up and go endpoint there. Okay. So once you have one done, you can just copy the other one. Any questions on that? So the explode, after you create that leader, is kind of the key. Oops, I got somebody on my chat. Hold on. How did you explode the arrow? I used the explode function. I missed that part. That's okay. Caleb, I'll show you. So let me do it again. I'll do the whole thing from the start because I only did it the one time. So I've got leader right here. Okay. Leader is that little circle one. I'm going to click on the left, click on the right. And now I just hit escape to get out of there because I don't want to put anything in back of it. So now if I kind of go over the top of it, this whole thing lights up. It means that it's this whole thing. And I want to explode it. So right down below the eraser is the explode. And then I'm going to just hover over the top of it, click it, and then hit enter, and it's exploded. And you can kind of see in this case, it went from the dotted line to the solid line because it exploded it. And then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it to where I want it to go. So I'm going to move it to a different part of the line. Yeah, undo my ortho. I'll move it like there-ish. Okay. And then now I just want to trim off that back side with my trim function. By exploding that line, it became like a regular line as opposed to a leader anymore. Okay. And then you can move the other one or copy it. There we go. All right. Notice my arrows are pointing in the opposite direction from my section view. Okay. That is good. A good deal. Okay. So now I've got my cutting plane line in place. Might as well hit save, right? Don't want to lose that. But now what's happened is my cutting plane line goes down the middle. And if I try to use that, that's the annotate and the center mark, or if you moved it, if I try to use that, I'm going to get a vertical line going through the middle, right? And as we know, we can't have any overlapping lines. So what ends up happening is that we can't use the center mark for putting those center lines in, the horizontal center lines in. But it's not a big deal. We're going to go to our center layer, and all we're going to do is we're going to find those centers, right? We're going to hover over them, get in alignment with them, and we're just going to go just outside the circle, and it doesn't have to be perfect. I need to put my ortho back on. Doesn't have to be perfect, and just outside the other side. Escape. Okay. Now, this one, you're going to notice that it doesn't have a dash in it. So what am I going to do now? I have to do an LT scale. Now, I wouldn't do an LT scale on the whole thing because everything else looks good, right? So all I'm going to do is I'm going to select that one, and I'm going to do right click, properties, and I'm going to go up to LT scale. And I'm going to change it from 1 to 0.5. And then we look, did it change? It didn't. Then we're going to go to 0.25. Now it changed. Okay. So sometimes you might have to play with it a little bit so you get this, so that you get it. Now I'll notice now this is something that bothers me. It's not a huge deal, Kelly. It's okay. But I got to move it. I like it to be centered. See how I kind of have it centered now? There we go. Now, since this is the same size that I want for the bottom one, I'm going to do a copy on it. So I'm going to go a copy from here, this center, down to this center. There we go. Okay. So those two are done. Again, you can't have an overlap vertically. Yes.
My center line is still changing its dashes.
Then try 0.25. Did you do 0.25 as a scale? I did 0.5 first and it didn't work. I had to go 0.25 as my next size down, and that one worked. Did that help, Christian?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, now I'm going to do the one on the side here, right? Or through the center here. Let's do that very same thing. I'm going to go to center line. I'm going to kind of hover over. It's not grabbing my center here. It's not grabbing it. There it is. Go just on the outside and just on the outside. There we go. That one looks good because it's got the dash in here. Now this is where sometimes that UCS, the X and the Y, I like to get rid of it because it starts to overlap things and it doesn't, show things clearly. So to get rid of it, you're going to go to View tab right here, View, the bottom View tab, and you're just going to toggle off the UCS, and now it goes away. Might not bother you, but just like at a point like this, it kind of like bugs me. All right, so in this view, I'm good. All right, I'm good. I wouldn't do a separate one for the whole because it's included. It's on the same center line as that larger circle, right? Now I'm going to go over here. So since I have that full circle, I can use my, if you want to use the annotate and then go to the center mark, you can do that, right?
Would the center line of the item itself not go through that one?
Yeah, I'm not going to. So you'll see what I do. I go back to home. I'm on my center right here, right? So I can do from this endpoint right here out. And then I can do another line from this endpoint out. Yeah. And then that way they're not overlapping and I'm able to take advantage of. Okay. And then it looks like these two, I might have to switch to that smaller size as well. So I'm going to do properties, 0.25. There we go. That looks good. There we go. And then I got to do these guys too. So up here, because it doesn't go all the way across, I'm just going to do regular center lines in this one as well. So here's this one. Sometimes just drawing the line is just easier. And I can either do a copy or just drawing another line is really not a big deal. And then these two, I also need to change. That 0.25 seems to work really good for this one. So I'm going to go 0.25. And yeah, now I've got my center lines in without any overlapping. Okay. These are the little tedious things. Usually drawing the part, getting things in place, that goes pretty smoothly, but adding the center lines, we're going to find out dimensioning takes time. Okay. So these are going to be those ending details that just are a little putsy. Okay. All right. So now let's look back. Let's see what we've got here underneath. We're not putting the dimensions on, we're not putting it on a border, we're just constructing our section view and our front view. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we've got everything in place, don't we? Yeah. So now you just want to do a save on it. This is one of your assignments. So, so we're getting ahead on that. So do a quick save and you are all set to hand in. I'm gonna stop recording. Well, before I stop recording, does anybody have any questions? We're going to continue in this module to upload the actual AutoCAD files again too, just like we have been for the previous. Okay. It's been working actually pretty well.